one thing that caught my attention was we know Strategy was the first to implement the Bitcoin reserve, add Bitcoin to the balance sheet. But since then, since August 2020, there's been 70 public companies who have added Bitcoin to the balance sheet. 70. And I think that's just it's a good representation of where we are right now. I think it kind of shows where we're going to. That's not going to slow down. It's going to speed up. And it's going to be the exact same with Bitcoin businesses actually accepting Bitcoin. Did you guys see that Steak and Shake started accepting Bitcoin?
I saw that. Yeah.
I saw that too, it's actually huge. They serve, I think their metric was like 300,000 people.
100 million customers.
100 million customers, was it? Yeah, I mean, massive. Way more than I just said even. And then they have 300 something locations, I believe it was. Do you have that tweet up there, Jor?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. But
I can find
that's
it.
Huge. That's like the biggest news of medium of exchange in quite a long time, actually, for Bitcoin. And it's totally a lot more possible now because of Lightning. Like there was a lot of medium of exchange happening a lot earlier on with Bitcoin, but there was just a serious limitation with having it all as broadcast transactions on the Bitcoin network. With layer 2's Lightning, it just makes so much more sense to be able to just buy a burger and use the Lightning network.
Yeah.
So the other big one was that Spar supermarket. They were in Switzerland, I believe. And I think they did a couple stores. It might have been one or two. And then they actually announced last week that they're actually going to be adding more. It was a successful pilot or a launch. But Steak and Shake, their tweet this morning said that they're rolling it out at all of their locations.
Yeah. Amazing. 100 million customers. May 16th. I mean, I wish we had one in Canada. I don't know if we have them anywhere in Canada, but I'd go spend some Bitcoin for sure. 100%. Tallow fries, hell yeah.
Well, look at it says Bitcoin. Oh, it says steak Toshi. I like that. Steak Toshi. But another thing here, it says the movement is just beginning. And that's absolutely right. Because we've seen Strategy was the first, 70 public companies 4 years later. But think about how much more work it is for a public company to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. And look how fast that accelerated. Like for a business, especially like a smaller business, it's not that much. It doesn't take much to start accepting Bitcoin nowadays. So I think this is just the beginning, and it's just going to be exponentially higher in a couple years from now, which is going to be good for the MOE.
Yeah,
I think that's what's gonna bring a lot of small businesses into competition with all these big businesses, right? So these small businesses can accumulate Bitcoin without having to go to their shareholders for permission, and they can eventually keep saving, and then they can create something of value that can compete with, let's say, Microsoft or Apple or all these other companies, and then they could just take over the market, right? And that could be Bitcoin that's doing that for them.
100%. Yeah. And we've seen this as well, like this Jory, you talked about the Bitcoin treasury companies. Like literally we're seeing a new one every other day. 21 Capital was a big announcement because everybody knows Jack Mallers, but the new one here, Asset, is the ticker ASST. They're like a small penny stock company that does like TikTok videos and marketing for companies. And anyway, they're being bought by Strive Capital, which is the ETF issuer, it's like co-founded by Vivek Ramaswamy. Peter Thiel's involved in that. There's like 4 different billionaires that are a part of that company that's backing it. And the CEO of Strive, his entire business plan is to turn Asset into a Bitcoin treasury company and then go find public companies or private companies that they have more cash on their balance sheet than their market cap, which there's all these companies that are like distressed in some way, and they actually have more cash than they're worth on the open market. And they're just going to buy all these small companies and immediately use the cash and buy a Bitcoin with it, and therefore raising the value of all of these companies they're buying. Like it's insane. So like that alone, that company out that could just one after another just turn these small businesses or relatively small businesses into Bitcoin treasury companies. Like it could seriously accelerate with that business plan.
Wow. That's nuts. Rajat, can you bring that up one more time? Because I think this is important too. There's the the 100 million customers, every location. They got beef tallow, which I think is also another growing trend here within the food world, because a lot of these fast food chains are using seed oil still. But look at how many people saw this tweet. Scroll down a bit there, Rajat.
Oh, this is the so I could only find a screenshot from Bitcoin Magazine, and
Oh, it's
the
just a
Bitcoin
picture.
Magazine one got 87.8K.
This one, when I looked at it this morning, I think it was over 600,000. I'll just bring it up here quickly. Where is it? Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake, baby.
151,000 on Steak and Shake's original
Wow.
post.
What was it, Forrest?
851,000 views.
850.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
nuts.
That alone, right? Other companies are going to see that and be like, whoa, Steak and Shake just got all this free marketing from just accepting Bitcoin. It's not that hard to accept Bitcoin. Let's do it.
I want to go there.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it too. And then maybe we can get some free marketing just from doing so.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer at this point, and that's kind of. It seems like a lot of Bitcoiners are wondering, when this thing is going to turn into a medium of exchange, and I really think it's going to be driven by the business owners, because business owners are going to start to see what's happening here. They're going to see the free marketing that these companies are getting from Bitcoin. That's going to be an obvious one. They can also save on their merchant fees. Also reduces the chargebacks. It's also instant settlement. There's a ton of these reasons, but when they realize that the fiat dollar, that's going to be their first gateway into the Bitcoin stuff, but then they're going to see how useless and illusionary the dollars are. So we're going to go from businesses accepting Bitcoin to businesses demanding Bitcoin. And I think that's going to be when that's when it becomes a medium of exchange, I think.
Can we talk about the other side of the equation? Why would companies not want to accept it? What is it? Fear?
I think it's perceived difficulty and potentially like employee turnover and additional employee training, accounting difficulties as well, potentially. So I think it's just like systems. I think it's just, and it's also like with businesses, you have to, they're focused on operations, and they think, okay, is this worth doing? It becomes that becomes the first question. Is this worth doing? And if we see that Steak and Shake becomes more successful because of that, then that question becomes answered for a lot of businesses. Like it does become like a domino effect, I think.
Yeah, and it's just going to become easier and easier too. Like that was one of the things that Jack Mahler said a couple months ago. Somebody was asking him about paying bills with Strike and the tax implications of that. He said, basically, just do what you normally do. If you're making money, that's a good thing. If you're paying capital gains, that means you've won. Like, what's the alternative there? Not pay tax and just continue to lose purchasing power? But he also said, like, at the end of the year, Strike's actually now set up where they can just send a simple tax document to the users, and that's basically what they give to their accountant. So I feel like in terms of businesses, it's going to be the exact same. These systems are going to be put in place where it's no different. It's nothing that the business has to do differently. They just get a document showing the gains that they maybe made on the Bitcoin if they swap it back into fiat. But like, how could you ask for anything more than, selling your products and services and getting Bitcoin straight to your wallet? You don't have to go through the banking system anymore. You don't have to wait anymore. There's no risks anymore. It's just straight non-KYC Bitcoin. I mean, especially for smaller businesses, but like, that's the dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that this makes me think of is btcmap.org is going to just start getting crowded. Like all of ShakePay's businesses are going to be on there. It's going to be wild. It's yeah, I don't know. This is the start of something bigger. It's like George said, it's just going to become easier and easier to do this.